Hi everyone, welcome to Home Buying Tips with Allie. This is our last show for 2019, but we have some awesome shows starting in 2020, and so we're just looking forward to blessing you all. We really want all of you to have a very Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. And I am actually here today with Kevin Lisitsin. Yep. I hope I said it right. Of Farmers Insurance.
You did. Thank you.
I'm having a hard time with his last name, so forgive me. So, Kevin, how about you tell everyone how you pronounce it correctly?
It's 3 syllables, Lisitsin, so Lisitsin.
Lisitsin. There you go. When you say it quickly. So, Kevin, how long have you been a farmer's agent?
Going on 5 years.
Okay.
Yep.
And what were you doing before that?
Prior to that, I used to help run a territory in Southern California and Central Valley, and I helped with doing nonprofits for doing outreach and growth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did it for a while, and did a lot of traveling, a lot of traveling. So yeah, that's what encouraged me to find something to do locally. My wife and I adopted, and at that time, we knew that me being gone for a whole week or 2 weeks at a time would be a little bit much. So looked at different options, and I really wanted to be somewhere where I could volunteer in the community. And my grandfather was a farmer's agent for 30 years, a really long time ago. And so when that thought came up, I went and I got headhunted by a company. I started there for 8 months, got licensed through there, and then realized that, man, I really love this and I want to do it on my own. And I reached out to Tony Jackson and his recruiter, there, Larry, reached out, talked to me, and we met, and before I knew it, I was starting my own agency.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I know that besides Farmers Insurance, you and your wife have another business that makes our tummies happy.
Right? That's awesome. Yeah, Rocket Dog Gourmet Brats and Brew. It's a locally owned restaurant, eatery that we have in town. We do partner with another married couple, Gary and Bethany Shaw, and they help operate the daily operations. So I'm able to focus solely on Farmers Insurance. I have a couple of full-time employees at my office actually working right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and once Daniel speaks bilingual, is amazing, absolutely phenomenal employee. I love the guy.
He can roll his R's?
Oh, he can roll his R's, yeah. He's very comfortable speaking Spanish, no doubt. Sometimes I think he's talking to me in Spanish, and I get him going sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we own Rocket Dog, and then we're just getting ready to do a grand opening for a brewery that we are opening up at Melbourne and Herndon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
That's a really unique industry right now that's forming everywhere.
Yeah, it is. The craft beer world is awesome because really it brings people together. Like, you think of craft beer, I think of someone's garage where someone's making a beer and people are coming over and having a barbecue and having fun and just laughing and enjoying themselves. So we figured, as owners of Rocket Dog, we were either going to open up a sausage place where we make our own sausages, or open up a brewery where we can start making our own beer and bringing it into Rocket Dog. The opportunity came up through Sarah's brother-in-law and sister-in-law to move from Modesto to Fresno.
Wow.
And he is just a phenomenal guy and has done a lot of catering through weddings and made beer, specialty beers for people getting married. And he's been doing it for a long time. And so anyhow, I had the conversation with him and said, hey, you want to be an entrepreneur and drop everything you're familiar with and move 100 miles south and open a brewery? And he says, let's do it. So about 6 months ago, they made the plunge, and he's been working his tail off to open up the brewery here. So we'll be working with Stephen and Becky Cook there at the brewery, and we should be open in about a week, I'm thinking. Just waiting for one more permit to get approved by the city. So if you're watching this, please approve that permit, and we can start making beer. But yeah, we're excited about it for sure. Thank you.
That's awesome. And for the viewers out there that have never gotten to taste Rocket Dog,
sure.
Where's Rocket Dog located?
Well, we have 2 locations. One's at Shaw and Blackstone. That's our ground zero spot. It's been open now for about 5 years. And it's just between 41 and Blackstone on Shaw.
Okay, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
And then where's the other one?
The other one's a little harder to find. It's Willow and Knees. It's behind Sonic. It's next to Stevens Bicycles. and House of Pendragon is down the way from them. And so, yeah, we do sausages, gourmet sausages, hot dogs. Those are like our specialty, right? Gourmet brats and brew. And then we have a bunch of sandwiches on there that we offer, really good salads. And we just started a hamburger, a smash burger that's been really popular and people really like it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, over the 4 or 5 years we've been open, the customer comes through the line and somebody in the family doesn't necessarily want a hot dog or a sausage.
Right.
And so we've been really fighting back and forth about branding, if that's something we want to try to do. And finally, Sarah, who's my wife, bought into the idea that it would be something that we should consider. And I says, hey, why don't we just put it on a monthly special, see how it works? And sure enough, we started it, and it's become one of our best sellers.
Wow.
So we're going to probably have 2 on our menu. They won't be on like a website or anything. They'll be on our secret menu or there at the restaurant.
Right.
We don't want to complicate the menu too much. But for people that want a really good hamburger and have a beer, we're definitely a good spot for it.
Yeah. And then I also know that, only because I run into you,
Yeah.
you'll do catering events at other locations also.
Yeah, so with Rocket Dog, we have a special catering menu that's not our menu. So it's a catering menu you can find online, and it's not the regular Rocket Dog. Like we have soups and salads, and assortment of specials for individuals. We've done up to 200 people of individually wanting a certain sausage made for them. We do vegan and gluten free. So that event was interesting for us to do. We pulled it off, but it was definitely a big one, 200 people.
Yeah.
And then we've done them for smaller groups of 5 or 6.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you all tuned in to hear about some home buying tips and some insurance tips, and we'll be right back after these messages to get into that with Kevin. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Home Buying Tips with Allie. I am here with Kevin Lisitsin of Farmers Insurance. He's laughing at me because I'm having a hard time with his last name.
It's okay. Everybody does. It's all right.
So forgive me. Just the way it sounds isn't like it's spelled.
No, it doesn't. It's definitely should sound different.
So, Kevin, I know that you're an agent. You're a broker, right, with farmers?
Yeah, so I work directly with Farmers Insurance, and then when I'm not able to write the policy with farmers, in other words, the risk isn't acceptable, I then can broker it out.
Okay.
And I start with Craft Lake, and then after Craft Lake, I can move out and go into the broker world, which is one of the reasons why I chose Farmers, is because if I have a customer today and their life changes throughout the course of the year, more investments, different scenarios come up, I can still be their agent by just getting appointed with other insurance carriers. It can't be for rate,
Right.
but it can be for risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know a lot of our viewers out there are considering purchasing their homes or possibly looking over their existing policies and
Sure.
possibly changing those out as well.
Absolutely.
What information is needed for a home insurance quote?
Quotes are fairly low detail, low information. We don't ask a lot of questions when I'm just getting a quote. With that being said, a name, a date of birth, and address. And basically the name of those that are going to be living inside the dwelling. I'll try really hard to stay away from insurance lingo. Inside the home that they're purchasing.
But I also know
Or renting.
I've gotten my own insurance quote, and you need to know my roof type, how old the roof is, the age of the house, all that stuff is factored in, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of sources that we have by verifying those sort of questions. So when I initially do the quote, I will run the quote with what I see on Google Maps, or I'll check a couple of different sources, especially if it's a new purchase. There's 6 different websites that show a lot of those sort of questions.
Right.
Once I can speak to the customer and they know enough about it, I'll actually try as an insurance agent to meet with them at the house to take video or pictures of interior things and exterior, and of even personal property I've done too, so they can I can show them how to upload those sort of things. So God forbid they ever have a claim, they can refer back to it.
Right.
But for my initial policy, I don't ask for those sort of things to a client. I'll do a lot of research on my own, and going to like an inspection sort of thing prior to me submitting the policy to farmers. I'll actually drive out to the house myself and take photographs of that house to make sure that the dwelling amount is the right, the home amount is the right home amount. So if there ever is a claim, I'll be able to have the home rebuilt for them, and the right roof type, structure. I'm seeing a lot, especially in Fresno. They're not quote unquote custom homes, but you'll see a lot of brick veneer outside. That adds a little bit more to the home's rebuild value.
Right, right. And I know that you keep saying the word dwelling, but
Yeah,
dwelling
sorry.
does mean home.
It does, yes.
It's the land and the home, correct?
So yeah, it's a good question. I'm glad you said that. I'm insuring the building, anything inside that building, and any structure on that land.
Okay.
You're purchasing land, location, and dwelling.
Mm-hmm.
So the purchase price is going to be very different based on those three factors.
Right.
I'm not insuring it based on its location. I'm insuring it based on the value to rebuild that structure. God forbid there's ever a loss.
Right, because luckily, whenever there is a fire, the land doesn't go away.
It does
The
not.
land stays there. So.
It does, and so does a lot of the underground plumbing and electrical that might be there. So, so yeah, it's just the square footage that's mostly being insured.
Yeah. I know that sometimes people mistaken homeowner insurance with their private mortgage insurance. Can you elaborate on that? Because I know that homeowners insurance is a separate policy as opposed to the other insurance that they have to have on their loan, but this is different.
Yeah, it's a good question. I am not a loan specialist, so you'd have to really reach out to a loan specialist to learn more about what insurance is out there for a loan. What my joy of what I get to do with farmers is I'll write policies with replacement costs, so RCV. Another option people have is actual cash value. I don't write those policies unless the clients, very well understands what they're getting, because really it's like $1 more a month to have the better policy.
Right.
If the carrier offers it. Not every carrier does. Farmers does. So I write it with replacement costs. So that means that if there is a loss on one of the dwellings that I've written with replacement costs, they'll have some depreciation, okay? And I don't know all the factors because I'm not in claims, but a lot of it's gone and it'll be replaced to brand new. And so when it comes to the whole complete structure, from the roof, the flooring, and all the personal contents inside the home, I have the option of doing replacement costs. And so I'm going to rebuild that home to current market value when it, God forbid, ever has a claim.
Right.
And it does matter too, because when I work for farmers, I also write with Foremost and I also write with Pacific Specialty. Not automatically will those policies have actual cash value or replacement cost. So it's very important, if whoever's watching this, that they reach out to their agent specifically and ask about their policy specifically, if it's actually with a farmer's underwriting like Farmers Insurance, or did your agent write it through Foremost or Pacific Specialty or the many others that we write with.
Right.
Yeah, just as a quick disclaimer, because this isn't a once and done type of thing. Insurance is you're only as strong as the agent you have work on your policy, period.
And I believe, to my knowledge, that the homeowner's insurance is built into their payment, into their mortgage
That
payment.
is 100%, yes. So I have my clients, when I'm quoting them, I'll give them the option to give them an auto insurance quote, because all of your money comes out of one bucket. When you get paid, it gets put into one check or gets paid in a checking account. So if I can save you a discount, right, on auto for your home, that might save you $15, $20 a month on your home.
Right.
And so you save money there, right? And then on the payment is in escrow. So when I get notified that the home's closed, either through the customer or through the lender or realtor, they usually call me all happy. Finally got a home. It closed, Kevin. It closed. They get all excited. I love it, though. I love it. And so
Send over the binder.
right, yeah, it's done. It's theirs now. It's keys in hand. Or I'll even see it on social media, which is fun.
Yeah.
When I get to see a customer tag me on social media, and I'm like, oh, look, it closed. So I'll verify it and get it closed. Yeah, we bill their escrow. We bill their loan. So in the future, if that lender sells it to another bank, I have to update the homeowner's insurance, which I'm able to do out of my office because I don't have any of the service work sent out The customer can call Farmers to do it, but a majority of my clients, I'd say 95, if not more, actually I service everything through my office because I want that customer connection and I want to work hard for everybody.
Right. I agree with that. So when it comes to homeowners insurance, what are the top 3 important things that I need to know about a homeowner's insurance policy?
That's a good question. And a lot of this will be repeated because homeowners insurance can only be so much.
Right.
But specifically the dwelling amount, the overall cost to replace the home, at least once a year. And I know your time's valuable. Your time is extremely busy. You're very professional, busy doing things. If I can get 5 minutes with one of my clients just to go over the homeowner, like the dwelling every year, that's huge. So that's one thing. Just spend 5 minutes every year talking to your agent, no matter what company you're with. Make sure they give you that time. If they don't give you that time, then that's when you should probably shop around.
Right.
Because, if God forbid something happens and you've made updates to your house and your insurance agent doesn't know, there could be some risk there. So the dwelling amount's important. Another thing that's important is the liability. So liability insurance covers your risk. And again, I'm not a CPA and I'm not an attorney or a lawyer, but I can tell you that your risk assessment should always be your liability insurance, and then which is, say, like if it was $1 million, right, was your liability, your risk was you had liquid assets of $1 million. Say you owned a house, you owned a couple of cars, looking at getting a rental, you have a lot of liability risk. Then your insurance liability should be higher than what you have.
Right.
And I always tell my customers, so that's number 2. So always get what you can afford. If you can't afford to have an umbrella, which generally are about $20, $25 a month, then you don't need it. Don't feel bad about it.
Right.
You're getting as much as you need for your family. That's all that matters. So that's a good thing. And again, that'll be different for everybody.
Right.
And then the third thing is to just make sure that the personal property inside your home's insured correctly. A lot of people know this because I say it a lot when I'm talking to my customers, that ring's not covered, that the jewelry won't be covered, right?
Right.
But the art might with Farmers Insurance, or your guitars might. It eats up that dollar amount of personal property that you have. So if you have a lot of art in your home and you're a farmer's client, reach out to your farmer's agent and see what it's like to increase the art part of your policy, because that can cause your policy to not have enough in it to provide replacement for those items.
So one thing you said that was interesting that I think a lot of people neglect to reach out to their agents is, if I had 1970 cabinets and ceramic tile countertops and I tear it all out and now I put in new modern cabinets with granite countertops, do I need to have my homeowner's insurance looked at?
Yeah, it's a good question. And again, there are endorsements in a policy. So an endorsement is an opportunity for an insurance agent to give you some added protection for things like that. So our policies offer, and not at all, 110% to dwelling amount, which is your building dwelling amount, or 120% to your building dwelling amount. So that means if I restructured your home at $500,000 and I gave it another 120%, that gives you another 20% on top of that $500,000 to protect you against things like that.
Right.
And then also building ordinance, which is generally 10%. So that is, again, an endorsement. So it may not or may not be on your policy. Really, it goes back to how strong your policy is. Only as strong as the company you're choosing to work with and the agent putting in the information.
Right.
Yeah. And listening to this and sharing this, because this is educational and it's 1 hour of your time. But unfortunately, you're not knocked on the door by the unfortunate event telling you it's going to happen on that day.
Oh, I wish.
Right? I would stay home if I knew that was going to happen. Or
Hindsight's not 20/20.
Exactly, it's not. And so hopefully if you're listening to this, you feel comfortable reaching out to your agent or having me look at your insurance policy and seeing if it's something that is still right for you.
Right. Well, that's some awesome information. We're going to be right back after these short breaks, and the short break, singular, not plural. And we'll be back soon. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Home Buying Tips with Allie. I am here with Kevin of Farmers Insurance. I'm not going to attempt to butcher his last name again. So, Kevin, I know we've been talking about homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand, how does homeowners insurance work?
Yeah, it's a pretty big question, actually. So essentially, what homeowners insurance, how it works is why are you needing it, right? So you need it because you need to transfer that risk of that home over to an insurance carrier. So say you have a water pipe burst. So think for insurance, sudden, catastrophic, and accidental. Those are the reasons that a claim would be submitted.
Right.
Is suddenly a water pipe burst, accidentally dropped it in, something happened, someone slipped and fell, those sort of things. Catastrophic, a tree fell in a storm, catastrophic. Those are the reasons for insurance. So say like that happened, well, your insurance should be able to provide you with somewhere else to live as a homeowner and fix your house while you're still paying a mortgage for a home you're not living in.
Right.
So that's what it's for. All those things that we talked about a moment ago were like getting you ready, right? For, God forbid, you ever have that event, because that mortgage is going to get paid, and your insurance carrier is probably not going to pay the mortgage. There's possibly like lost rents if you have rentals, if that's set up in your policy in that sort of way. But even so, you're still stroking a check to that mortgage company.
Oh, yeah, the bill doesn't stop.
No, the bill doesn't stop, and it will collect and collect and collect. So you need to have the right insurance policy to protect your asset. So essentially, hopefully, insurance should give people peace of mind that, hey, if I go and buy a house, I'm not on the clock for that whole property. I'm paying a monthly fee to transfer that risk to my budget. So that way, that risk, it's a safe risk to have. You should never be scared to buy a house, knowing that you can get homeowners insurance to protect you against, a loss.
Right.
And then I'm not going to go over it, but the other one would be home warranty. Home warranty can take care of small things. I can't tell you how many times I get phone calls from people, hey, my AC stopped working, or my dishwasher is not working. And I'm like, hey, call your lender, call your real estate agent. Hopefully, you got a warranty in place, and they'll be able to potentially help you with that.
Right.
But yeah, I get that question a lot. So homeowners insurance is to protect essentially the things you work so hard for.
Right. And then the home warranty insurance is to protect your appliances.
I believe so, yeah.
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 So one thing you said earlier, and you mentioned it a few times, was that you come out to the home and physically take pictures and inspect the home. Why does my home insurance company want you to come out to my house and do all of that?
That's a good question. And again, I'm not an attorney and I didn't write the policy, so I don't know all of the reasons why. I can tell you why I need to do it. I need to make sure the right roof is on the policy, the right structure is on the policy. There's no separate structures behind it where there's people living in it or not. The foundation's right. There's a lot of aspects to an insurance policy that need to be on the policy correctly. And Google Maps won't share that with you. Plus, things change. And that Google Map could have been 60 months ago, and now there is a shed in the backyard, and I need to know that.
Right.
And so on the outside of the house. Back in the day, we used to have to be inside the house. I think that was even prior to me. You used to need to be inside the house and see things. Now we just have to be on the outside of the house, from how I understand it.
Okay.
Yep.
So.
But that's why, and to also make sure, think of it this way, like we're insuring a house for, on an average, say $40 a month or whatever, and your home's value is like $250,000. You're looking for me to rebuild your house for $40 a month, $250,000 risk, and you have a tree branch laying on your roof, right?
Right.
I'm only going out there once. I don't know of an insurance carrier that checks every single house they write every single year. We do spot checks like up in the foothills and stuff. That's a lot more common because of the risks of being up in the foothills, but inside in the mountains and such. But inside the valley where most people will be living and hearing this, it's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
And so I'm only wanting to go out there once to make sure the risk at that time is good. So like, say, for instance, I've had opportunities to go out to people's houses and see wear and tear on a roof and bring it to their attention and then send them to a referral partner of mine or somebody that Farmers endorses to go out there and fix it. And that might save them from having a leaky roof
Right.
3 years from now. And so anyhow, we look for, that's the reason why we go out there.
Okay. And then I know that sometimes people feel that they're stuck with their current policy or how much they're currently paying. Is there a way to lower the cost of a homeowner's insurance policy?
Yeah, absolutely. I always recommend to get a couple of quotes. You know, I love it when my clients go out and get a quote to be able to see if what they have with me is the right thing for them or not. I also like it when my customers don't want to get quotes because they like my service. But essentially, it's super easy to change carriers, especially if you're in a mortgage, providing your new insurance writer, your mortgage information, your loan number, and then they just need to call the customer needs to call the lender and let them know, like, hey, I'm changing insurance carriers. And then we just write a letter to the previous insurance carrier that, hey, we're moving to another carrier. And then unearned premium would be refunded.
Okay.
And the bank will work with you on the escrow part of that. But yeah, it's super easy. I do it all the time.
So since you're going out to the homes and you're doing roof inspections, one thing that comes to mind is solar panels. How do solar panels affect the homeowner's insurance?
That's a good question. And just to clarify, I do not do roof inspections.
Well, yeah, you don't get up on the roof.
No, I observe the roof from afar, from a camera phone.
Safely from the floor.
Yeah, I'm not going on a roof at all, and I won't do an inspection. But so it's different angles I use.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Solar panels, great question. And again, I don't know all insurance carriers. However, with Farmers, they're attached to the actual roof. So that means that they're a part of your dwelling amount. And if they're a part of your dwelling amount, you do need to call your insurance agent and let them know you have them so they can just add each panel. It's a small fee. Sorry, not a fee to add them, but it's a small cost to add each panel. So you increase the home price or the dwelling amount.
And it's per panel, not per unit.
No, it'd be per panel. And if you can remember, I said the 120% extended replacement cost, that would also potentially help cover that loss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't think people even consider their solar because they figure, oh, I have a warranty with this company, so I should be fine, but they don't even consider that.
And that's a great question, and very well that might be the case, Allie. Every customer, every client will have a different policy.
Yeah.
And they'll all read a little bit differently. So some carriers might require you to have them added or there's no coverage.
Right.
We recently had a memo come out that specifically talked about having that conversation with our clients and adding them specifically to it because the dwelling amounts are adjusting so fast, so rapidly right now and increasing because of cost of labor going up. The cost of reconstruction is going to go up with that.
Oh, yeah.
So as minimum wage increases, that it does affect your home insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't realize, minimum wage increases, that increases your workman's comp, that increases your payroll taxes, that increases everything. It's not just the rate that you're paying that employee.
Oh, no. It does increase everything.
Yeah. And then that also increases your labor costs because they have to cover that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I know that you mentioned earlier about jewelry and other things in the home, but what is home contents coverage?
So I always tell my customers this, and I don't know if this is approved by Farmers or not, but this is how I'm a picture person. So I was to pick up your house and turn it upside down and shake it. Anything that fell out is personal property. And with Farmers, that's covered worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah, worldwide. So you could be on vacation and luggage stolen and, still get travel insurance, still buy those other services.
Right.
Because I don't know how all of those work. But essentially, we do offer that sort of coverage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you hear people say, oh, I've got $20,000 under my mattress.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I hope
If
not.
you shake the house upside down, that money's in there. Is that covered?
No, that's a good question. So I don't have a policy in front of me. However, there could be, and I said jewelry earlier, so there could be a lot of things, depending on your carrier, that have limits to each item. So I'm not 100% sure, so I won't say how much money is involved in the policy. But if you have $20,000 under your mattress at home, you have a lot more problems than what could happen at your house. You need to get that into a safe place.
Exactly.
Where, buy whatever you're going to do. I'm not going to advise you in that. But yeah, anyhow.
I just thought that analogy was funny.
No, that is. I'm glad you said that because you helped me catch a mistake. Yeah, there's a lot of that goes into this stuff. So we're having fun today, but none of this is bound to any sort of contract. So
Right,
just,
of course.
Yeah, we're just talking. So reach out to me or your insurance agent specifically so we can make sure that you have the right coverage because you matter and what your needs are, they matter. We want to make sure you're covered right.
Exactly. Yeah. That's number one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how can I make sure that I have enough coverage for all of my valuables?
So that's hard to say because it comes down to like sentimental value a lot of times, and sentimental value can't really put a price on it. I had pictures. If I had pictures that were damaged in a fire, gosh,
you can't replace them.
You can't, and that's terrible. So what I recommend to my customers, and I recommend to you guys the same, and gals and everybody listening is, hey, real quick, when you get home tonight, just go to every room you have and videotape it and upload it. Email them to yourself. Go to Yahoo or whatever your email it is. Open up a file and say home pictures or home video. And then folks that have like tools. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, toolbox.
There we go.
Yes.
Toolbox. You can open up each drawer and take a picture of it. That's huge for personal property. Absolutely huge. And Farmers is an amazing carrier. I get calls from claims looking for ways to cover things.
Right.
And I wish more people had pictures of their stuff because you get a check real quick, and to be taken care of. So
I've always told to document date of purchase, serial number, model number. Does that still come into play in today's market, or is a picture sufficient?
That's a great question. I'm actually not able to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah, you would have to reach out to your own claims adjusters, your own agent, and ask specifically. For me, I think depending on the item, like maybe firearms, they have a serial number on it. I think that would be important to have.
Right.
Because that identifies that firearm. A receipt of how much you paid for it when you got it would definitely help expedite possibly the claim. However, it may not.
I was thinking TVs, computers, things that people take for granted but are big dollar items.
Yeah, I think, and I've not actually been in a claim and sat through how all personal property is evaluated. But I always tell people, like, Farmers knows that you have a bedroom, you have a living room, you have a kitchen. So what are you going to have in those? You're going to have a bed. You're going to have a dining room set. You're going to have a kitchen set. You're going to have silverware. So going and getting that replaced, here's what you want to be cautious of. I almost think it's a felony to lie and profit off insurance. Now, again, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know that for a fact.
Well, it is. It's insurance fraud.
There you go. From Allie. So you want to make sure that you're being honest and whatever you're getting replaced is essentially what you had prior.
Right.
And I've known from past experience certain carriers offer that service differently. So I want to be real cautious about how I answer that question. But I know that if you had pictures of everything in your house, and it's date and time stamped, which it would be if you emailed it to yourself.
Right.
That's huge. And for those that don't have that, I think your experiences are going to be extremely different.
Right.
Yeah.
But even if you just if you don't want to just email it to yourself, because sometimes we get bored and we go through our old files and we just go select all, delete, and then we forget that we had that file in there. I really like Google Drive.
There you go.
Because Google Drive, you can upload it. You have its own storage place. It's secure, and all your pictures are in there.
Yeah.
So, okay. We're going to take a quick break, and we have a really interesting topic that's coming up, and I really want you guys to hear about this. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Home Buying Tips with Allie. I am here with Kevin of Farmers Insurance. And Kevin, there's a new trend out there called Airbnb. And I'm dying, I am not well versed in this subject at all, so I'm dying to hear the insight of this. What type of insurance do I need if I want to start an Airbnb in my home?
That's a great question, and one I'm actually getting often. And so I'm glad you asked it, Allie. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I love the idea of making money. I'm an entrepreneur myself, right? You have a free bedroom, you have a bedroom open, let's rent it out, make some extra cash.
That's me. I've got 3 extra bedrooms. They're sitting there.
Rent them out.
Yeah.
No, don't rent them out. Unless your insurance agent knows you're renting them out. Right. So you have a different policy for Airbnb policies. I write with Foremost, so I have to move. Farmers would not cover that. Potentially, right? Potentially. There's a good chance they won't. So you got to communicate to your insurance agent, essentially. Because the Airbnb side of the policy needs to be written through another carrier. It's basically because you have a pride of ownership is gone in that room, right? And they're on property and you're making money on it. And it's weird because like a landlord policy, you would think would be fine, right? But a landlord policy doesn't work because you generally don't have enough personal property to cover that. And you actually are living in the house, so that's your primary residence.
Right.
So you can't have a second mailing address, so there's no landlord policy available if you live in there, at least unless someone could correct me, put comments if I'm wrong. You're no different, please share it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I'm right. And then yeah, it's just written through another carrier. So I actually have homeowners that live in their house that rent their bedrooms out because they don't live in their house year round. Really complicates things in the insurance industry, especially when you're in different risks in the city, wherever your home's located. Had one where it got really complicated in my world because it was in the foothills, and it had a swimming pool, and they were Airbnb-ing it, and they lived on another portion of the property. And I was like, holy cow, this thing's all over the place. Insurance carriers don't know how to act because it's not an everyday occurrence. So, no, these are new. And I do know, I don't know when, but I've heard in other states in the United States, there are states that have an endorsement you can have on your policy to add Airbnb. But it's not available in California. And I don't have any idea if it ever will or it will come here. Usually we're last to get things like that. But if it ever happens and you're a client of mine, I'll make sure that I put the endorsement on your policy so you don't lose any of your discounts that you have on anything else.
So I'm curious because I know that sometimes people will buy tiny homes or mobile homes and put them in the yard, and then they'll use that to rent out. I've actually heard of people renting out their fifth wheels or their travel trailers as Airbnbs.
Oh, wow.
So do you know anything, would that be considered a second dwelling on the property? And
so that's a good question. One I'd actually do some research on to get back to you. So unfortunately, I won't be able to be live on here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to answer that question. I'm sorry.
No problem. I just thought it was interesting because, I've been looking at travel trailers and they're like, oh yeah, we have this man who just buys them and puts them all over this empty land and he rents them out. And I was like, really?
Yeah. I mean, you can do whatever you want and not have insurance, right?
Right.
So if you want to have that risk assessment to insurance policy, you'll want to have a conversation with your insurance carrier and make sure they can offer you that protection.
Right.
We do offer at Farmers an endorsement you can add to living structure on the policy. So like you mentioned, the tiny homes, I can write a tiny home on your property and it can be rented out to others and you're covered. I think, and this is where I'm not 100% sure, is if it has wheels and can be moved, it needs to be on a different sort of policy. Oh. And again, I'm not a professional in that. Right. I'm not well scripted in that specific risk.
Right.
So I'd ask for you to reach out to your agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people are not homeowners yet, but they're renters.
Yes.
Does Farmers offer renters insurance?
Absolutely. Renters insurance is a great way to start in the world of insurance. It does cover your personal property. It does give you liability insurance. And there's different features and functions within a renter's insurance policy that you might find very pleasing by getting a quote from your agent.
Yeah, and I've seen quotes as little as $18 a month.
Oh gosh, I've done them for less than that. Yeah. Farmers has a really good product. Renter's insurance, I've done them for $15 a month.
So for 2 Starbucks,
right?
you can be protected.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And people don't realize that. They always think, oh, I don't want to throw away $18 a month, but...
Oh, you're not throwing it away. Again, you're not. No one knocks on your door and tells you, hey, today's the day.
Right.
So get it if you can afford it. If you're watching this, you need to get a quote on it. It just makes sense. It doesn't cost anything to at least get a quote.
Right.
And if you have auto insurance with the carrier, just call them and ask for a renter's insurance policy. Your auto insurance might go down $10 a month. Now that renter's policy is $5 a month. And you have a computer stolen out of your car.
It's covered.
On renters, if you have it, you won't have it if it's your auto insurance, though. At least from farmers, I'm familiar with personal property. Again, it's covered in the house. So if you don't have renter's insurance and your car is broken into, I don't know that a car policy would cover that. It could, but I don't think it does. I'm pretty sure with farmers it doesn't.
Yeah.
You have to have a renter's policy because that's your personal property is covered.
Yeah, and nowadays too many people are walking away from their vehicles and leaving computers and cell phones, even eyeglasses, and people are breaking into their vehicles and they don't even, number one, have coverage, or number two, know how to retrieve any of that stuff back if they have coverage.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not a specialist in credit. You might have better answers for this, but I think there's also personal property coverage in some credit cards,
right,
where things are stolen.
Exactly.
And so you always
if
want
you pay for it.
There you go.
Yeah.
From Allie.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, I know we're down to the final 5 minutes of the show. If you want to tell everyone how to reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, for you specifically, Allie, what I'll do is I'll give you my cell phone number. I have an office number. You can definitely go to Facebook and find the Lisitsin Insurance Agency Incorporated. You can just search Kevin Lisitsin, which is Lisitsin. You'll be able to find me there. And then I can be called or texted on my cell phone, and that's 559-360-2809. You can reach me there. And also, I love giving back to the community. I adore home ownership education. I absolutely love mentoring, coaching, and I get the opportunity to work with kids at Patino High School, McLean High School, and it brings me a lot of joy. So if you're watching this and you're interested in giving back to the community, please reach out to me. I love bringing people along. It's the reason why I've been a part of so many nonprofits in Fresno and will continue to do that. Because I believe that you can give it your time and your treasures, and more importantly, your time, just being a person to listen to somebody else, to coach them or encourage them. It's huge, and it's the reason why I love being a small business owner. I don't know if I call myself an entrepreneur or not. Some do call me that. I say it's because I just...
With 3 businesses, you are.
All right. Well, Allie said it. It's true. Thank you very much, Allie.
No problem.
Really appreciate this opportunity. I know a lot of people in this community, and Allie, you're one of the most professional people I know.
Oh, thank
I think
you.
you do great in the community. You give of your time. And I appreciate you calling me and here to do this with you. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. And then I know you mentioned Facebook, but do you have Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat?
I actually do have a Snapchat.
TikTok.
I do have a TikTok. I don't use Twitter. I have a Twitter account. But yeah, just Google me, friend me, and I'll share all my things with you guys. I do a lot of live videos and try to have fun with those too, talking about more business. Because I really love talking about business.
Yeah. So don't forget to go down. If you're hungry, go get lunch at Rocket Dogs.
Rocket Dog.
Dinner too?
Yes, dinner too.
So lunch and dinner at Rocket Dog. And then you're going to be able to go get your drink on here in about a week. If you like to drink beer.
Yeah, at our brewery. Yeah.
And then when you need insurance, call Kevin.
Home, auto, life, commercial, you name it. I can help you with it.
Awesome.
Especially life insurance. Don't forget about life insurance.
Yes.
Super cheap and really good to have. Got to have it.
Yeah, because the only guarantee in life is death and taxes. That's it. Everything else is a mystery.
It's all a mystery. This is true. I love it. Oh, goodness.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. As a reminder, we will not be here Tuesday the 24th or Tuesday the 31st, as it is a holiday week. But we will be returning back on Tuesday, January 7th. And we look forward to seeing you in the new year. May your vision be clear for 2020.